how the draft unfolds, because I didn't think that Aurora into Oriana was as hard winning a matchup as Oriana made it look to be in that game one. As Bulldog, they're now on blue side. I'm still wondering about that AD priority with Varus. You can see the bans above our heads as to what is not available for game number 2. And shown as keeping that Draven ban. I expect them to also still keep the Kalista ban as well, alongside that Skarner. I'm anticipating that those bans will be preordained, and for Bulldog, a little bit more freedom.
Oh, I'm actually... okay. When I see a Vi ban that early, to me, that kind of means slippery champions over in the bot lane. Now, of course, Ezreal was played over in game 1, but in game number 2, you could potentially be looking towards something like a Zeri. Now, it's very secondary or even worse than secondary on the side of Bulldog Esports. However, it's one of the most scaling champions, and the Vi ban really, really scares me to see it from the blue side.
True.
Yeah, no, Archer, I see you making up your face. I assume it's the blue side Skarner ban.
Yeah.
So when you leave it up like this, like Los Ratones have done, now that we're on 15.3, a lot of teams have started to leave Skarner up because of the nerfs. Some teams are kind of allowing it to go through. Bulldog very clearly not comfortable with the idea of it being traded in any capacity in the event that Los Ratones didn't ban it, so it does give them that free ban. It's an additional AD ban towards Exafeng. So Los Ratones, I feel like, are kind of just saying, yeah, Exafeng's just your best player. We're going to pinch this pool as much as possible. Maokai first pick, definitely a very interesting one. Again, flexible, usually in the jungle, but we've seen a little bit more top lately. It just kind of depends on what the matchup ends up being for that top lane.
It was banned in game number 1 as well, so it was banned from Los Ratones towards Bulldog Esports, and we're not supposed to talk over hovers. I really don't think that a Jarvan could
blind,
come through.
I mean, Bounce is here. Jarvan's not as a thing, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna make the assumption that it's gonna be in Velia's hands, especially again for Bulldog. Maokai, you would maybe expect to be a little bit more in Matex kind of wheelhouse as opposed to Lunas.
Wow.
Now, with the Jinx lock-in at the same time, that kind of makes you think, okay, this is a takeaway because we don't want to have to deal with the Jarvan having an immobile AD carry. But now Bulldog can still find a lot of engage tools of their own in response.
This might be actually a Zeri game right here. You've taken away a lot of tools that can catch the Zeri, the Maokai, the Vi. Nautilus is the one that remains. But again, Jamada did mention the Varus previously, and I'm just very surprised it hasn't risen into priority. But then again, picking immobile AD carry after you've seen the Jarvan doesn't mean that the Jarvan is necessarily jungle. Doesn't matter where he could be support for all you know.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's like awesome. We have the matchup into the AD, into Jinx. Is like Varus is one of the most punishing matchups into Jinx, I think, out there. That said, you are still playing Varus into Jarvan, so you're gonna have to find a couple of other avenues of some zone control, right? Of some peel. Jace is gonna come in alongside this, so a lot of poke is there for Bulldog. But right now, Los Ratones, with the Jarvan, you could just layer in another engage tool if you want. You could even, for all intents and purposes, just say screw it all, go Lulu. So you've got the Jinx with the Enchanter support as well. I think options are super open for this R3. It really depends on what they want, but Bulldog seem very, very set in this draft right now of 2 poke champions, a Maokai for zone control, and then they can really round out their draft however they feel like it. Los Ratones, 1 hyper carry, 2 frontliners. The Scion should definitely mean that Jarvan goes to Velia.
I'm getting very scared right here. The Scion locked in kind of smells like a lane swap to me from the side of Los Ratones. And last time I remember Bulldog Esports in a lane swap scenario, they got absolutely dizzy on the map. We have commended Los Ratones for their macro as well. So just want to hope that Bulldog Esports have got an answer for the lane swap. I mean, you can even bunch up as 5 at the early game, try to scout deep wards, anything like this, because it hasn't favored them so far. And luckily enough for Balsi, that's not only his main, he's the best anti-dive champion in the entire game as well, in terms of lane swaps.
Yeah. Rumble out, you don't want to play that as Balsi. You really don't want to play that versus Scion. But also, like, if you're going to lane swap, why not leave it open?
Yeah, I guess that's true, but we'll kind of have to sit here and wait. I like the Thresh call out here towards Kasing. Kasing's obviously a legacy Thresh player as well, and into Jarvan, and when you've got a Varus against that J4 again, it does make a lot of sense. See the Milio ban. I wonder if they double up on the enchanters, or if they take away at the very least one of those kind of irritating engaged champs. I think if you go Milio, then you're more likely to also just slam the Lulu. But the Azir is what comes out, and I like that because you already have, one hype carry having to kind of deal with a pseudo second is very frustrating. But now Syndra comes through for Crowny, for Nemesis, and Jarvan, Nemesis, and the Syndra in that mid jungle 2v2 after Cayman had a really rough game number 1. I wonder how much punishment he's going to take if he lands either on this Jace or another immobile mid.
Just give me any engage support here from Kasing, Leona, Nautilus, any of this. I think it's really needed. He's going to be the one engaging anyway. So it just has to be anything with the power to create play, especially for the bot lane. Having the setup, having the Maokai ganking through as well is going to be huge for them. Unless that Maokai ends up going over to the bot lane in the hands of Kasing, right? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's going to be something like a Nautilus, a Leona, a Rel, something that can very clearly engage and pull up with the Maokai.
I think they really need the Leona because they're dealing with Jinx Syndra. Well, I really don't know how much I like this.
The Maokai.
It is going to be Maokai support. I mean, I think this could end up being a little bit rough now for Bulldog. I think their skirmishing is going to be kind of fine around the bottom lane in particular, unless this Reckless pick really breaks apart the possibility of a strong 2v2 or 3v3. But beyond that, I think Mel's going to take a little bit of time. Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, Braum could really make this miserable. And I think there's no reason not to lock it in. So there you go. Bulldog, I think they're just playing an uphill battle here. If they get lane swapped on as well, I think life goes from bad to worse. I think at the very least they can play at 2 items. That's kind of where their game gets a little bit easy, but then there's that trough where Lost Returners will get to play directly after that with Jinx hitting 3.
They've been mind controlled. Jarvan was picked, and then we have 2 immobile, 3 with Jace if he goes towards a more aggressive build. 3 carries that are immobile for the mind controlled. Usually the other thing happens. You pick the immobile carries and someone slams the Jarvan into you.
Mm-hmm.
Questionable. However, there are avenues around it. Tanky Jace into on-hit Varus. They could have a strong enough front line to allow Exofang to scale into those 3 item on-hit Varus to try and chip into the Braum, the Jarvan, and the Sion. But I feel like the Lost Returners, again, they've built a fort in front of the Jinx. Like, how do you penetrate?
Yeah, they've played stellar around Clowny on the previous game, and as well dominated. Will he be able to do the same with the Jinx from the get-go? Or will Bulldog actually walk the walk after talking the talk? We'll see that after the break, and then we'll jump.
Welcome back, one and all, to the NLC. We're straight onto the Rift. No messing around this time around. No additional frills to these bells and whistles. Lost Returners go for the early level 1 invade. Resets come on through. We said it might be a bit of a tricky one if the lane swap came on through. Sion, the master of that. Even when lane swapping was just not good, when it was really difficult to pull off, you could still do it with Sion because of how potent he was in those lane swaps regardless. And Jinx, of course, notoriously pretty good at turret destruction. She gets a chance to get up in range and use some of those minigun auto attacks. Try and play that one out here. Certainly looking for that invade.
We already saw Crowny and Reckless together putting a lot of emphasis onto destroying the enemy turrets in the previous game. You can imagine, I think, that that's going to be the same idea for them in this game. Because this time they have the Jinx, this time they have the Braum again with the same idea to keep that Jinx safe for as long as possible. So I would not be surprised to see Crowny a lot around all of the rest of Niantic. Brother, you don't go to this
risky. So, Braum level 1 is arguably the strongest champion in the game. That passive, that Q, is very, very difficult to beat. Went to go try and mess around with it a little bit. Doesn't get hit by the Q and is mostly fine. Doesn't do much more than give Velia a bit of a love tap and leave it alone. And of course, no misfortune in the game, so that's not even an ability.
I'm quite happy we don't have misfortune, to be fair. We have, though, some interesting things already happening with Kasink on the bot lane being the annoying Maokai. Baus is gonna find it much harder this time to do the bouncy things that we saw from him in the previous game. But hey, this whole game, we're not just lane swapping. We are being lane spicy this time because we're just going around them with all of us. And Crowny's still gonna do the bounce thing this time. Okay, thank you very much. We are not leaving the proxying alone again. Lost Ratones proxy, you can put an equal sign between them and it's gonna make so much sense.
Yeah, beyond that, of course, you did see the Jace go mid, pick up the experience that we have seen that as a kind of adaptation to some of the lane swaps. That's the level 2, but it'll be a 3v1 dive. Lands the accelerated shock blast, goes into hammer form, goes to the skies. The Q goes wide, but the passive will still be there. Flag, drag. Mientech is in the dirt. Woo! Flash away from Crowdy, just about surviving. The other side, Bows is gonna get some back. Oh no.
Oh, that's... Oh, he almost got all of them down. Look at those health bars on the Bulldog side. They're retrieving, but at what cost? God damn it, that was 10 HP on Crowley, by the way. He's still staying on the lane because he knows there is no immediate danger. They're going to push the wave a little bit and then recall. He's got a Dirk, and he's got Reckless. Hey, I think that's a little bit more important. He's got Reckless to his name.
That he does. This is not going to be a tank Sion by the looks of it, at least not to begin with. It's a bouncy special. Would we ever really expect anything different?
No.
Early game, a little bit mixed. Good start for Lost Ratones. Did nearly lose Crowny on that dive, but got away with it just about.
Yeah.
But it is, unfortunately, Baus clearing out the whole wave, gets a kill to his name. Feeling very happy with how that lane swap has started.
I really hope that Nemesis doesn't... Oh, no, he catches it. He catches it.
It's a flash available, can look for something more. Throw the W out there to Cayman in case the stun came his way. Went flashing on forwards, looking to get the autos in the execute. Will get it with one more! And does so. Overpowered.
That's well played by Bulldogs. Having Cayman flashing forward, like, you don't want to keep your flash if you can go for a kill confirmed onto Nemesis during the laning phase. And honestly, Mel is so annoying in that sense that you can't really dodge when she throws abilities at you because the hit bar on those things is absolutely insane. So yeah, they just catch Nemesis like that. Good catch there for Bulldogs, but Baus, you know what? I said he's not gonna proxy on the bot lane most likely. Forget I said anything. It's Baus. I gotta give him more credit. He's gonna die. Yeah, but he's gonna get this wave regardless.
Does so, but what it also means, because you've got no wave behind it, there's no real way for X-Fang to get towards any of these turret plates. Of course, nice quick pick up there from Lulis to get a kill and then back away from it. The Xin Zhao getting early gold will be really valuable here because it means you can threaten the backline when the Jarvan goes diving on in, try and crescent guard people away. You are going to be somewhat obligated alongside this Maokai to try and manage some of the dive coming your way. You can try and play full contact League of Legends. Have a look at this replay as Nemesis ends up being killed after Cayman and Kasingo for this play.
There is, unfortunately, simply no way for you to get out of it. Kasingo is right under the turret to make sure he's the one tanking it, which allows Cayman to just walk forward, throw in an auto attack, and get out of it untouched by the turret, by Nemesis, or by anybody in the whole world. Really cleanly played by Bulldogs. Gives a little bit of advantage to Cayman on this mid lane, but for now, I am surprised. Okay, I'm not surprised considering how bad Mianek has been feeling so far on the top lane. Brother has 21 CS to his name. This is unfortunate. This is tragic for Bulldog because Lost Ratones are fine with their top lane dying. Sion is okay with that. Miatek is not.
How aggressively do they want to play this? The Sion's in the bush. Off to the other side. Decides to leave. Thank you very much, observers. Playing with our fears as much as X-Fangs, but wisely steps a ways back. Has gone towards the lethal tempo, so likely will be on hit. Can get towards the slightly tanky build. Nemesis has to be very careful here. The Solar Snare goes wide. Value looking to come around the corner. Sapling slow will be there. Flash forwards to get the twisted advance. They get the kill. Velia has to flag and drag out. Nemesis 0 and 2 this game. Double kill over to Cayman. A much better start than the last one as Sion hits the level 6. Big lethality and powered decimating smash. Phase rush away. That's a good chunk there onto the Varus.
Well, just still here on the mid lane. The Grubbies have spawned with Lost Ratones bolting there. Maybe they can have a play. Cayman.
Turn around, comes through, and that's very deep from Velia, who's going to get Bramble smashed away. The execute's available. Will not quite find it. The Burning Eclipse will not find that kill.
And now everybody from Bulldog side has to retreat. Even Medic just looking respectfully from the top lane. Doesn't have level 6, doesn't have mana, so there is no say he has in the question of the Krabbies. Lost Ratones are gonna get these ones. Again, with the bot lane having lane swap to the top lane, it's so easy to go for this early objective on the top part.
Massive. That's surely dead. Last auto. Nicely played. Kill onto Jinx.
This is the worst case scenario for Bulldog right now with the Jinx, because you don't want to see her getting excited so early in the game. Jinx is such a snowbally champion. You give her some early kills, she says, thank you very much. Now I'm gonna keep killing everything that I see in this game, getting faster to my items, getting faster to my power spike. Crowley is feeling fantastic in this game. Just gonna go for a quick reset, getting in some components, getting in a big sword. We are already talking about a very scary Jinx on the lane. And it's still Reckless who's hugging Crowley non-stop, not letting anybody get close to the Jinx.
At least this time around, Nemesis nabs the big raptor.
That's not
gonna force it to reset, can't quite kill it. Again, at least this time around, came in a much better position, has got some assistance mid lane, has got the 2 kills, and Syndra has to be very careful with her ability usage here, because if you ult poorly, if you scatter the weak poorly, it can just be no U'd back towards you with the rebuttal. Yeah, it's on a 35-second cooldown at rank 1, but if you just save it for when Syndra tries to combo you, the Syndra can end up stunning herself, end up ulting herself, and that just isn't fun.
You don't want for that to happen. That would certainly hurt. But for now, Nemesis is just hurt a little bit in the mid lane. That's why we see so much more attention towards Crown. If you want to accelerate somebody,
everyone knows the hit.
Pick someone who is already accelerated a little bit. Are we going to play aggressively here, though? We're talking about the potential dragon. So we can just rotate there. We don't need to go for a kill secured before we do that. It's an easy dragon if we have Crown with us. So much DPS on that Jinx allows you to get the objectives very quickly.
And last game, Crowny ended up in a 200 CS at like 15 minutes. It was a ridiculous pace to be farming and took the early advantage in lane, took them to a huge amount of plates. Intake actually in a lot of danger here, gets knocked up by the Decimating Smash and solo killed by Bouse's Scion. Bousey here to play the go to top lane, showing exactly where he got that namesake from. Lulis gonna try and maybe trade this one back as Bouse came in. On top of Lulis, might end up in a bit of a tete-a-tete. Knockup comes on through the 3-talent strike, the solar snare, a little wide.
He doesn't care!
The radiant volley, just gets the kill, came in on the killing spree. Still gets all the wave, still got the kill himself, is perfectly happy to trade that out.
He didn't even turn around to look at them when they went for him. That is truly something. Oh, that goes a little bit wide. Who is there? Outside of vision. Oh, okay. I don't think any play is gonna happen though. I don't think we're going for a dive here. The super mega death rocket didn't hit anybody. So yeah, we just safely reset. Just, you know, making J's there and making sure that nothing happens except for Reckless deciding not to recall. Okay. So the situation on the top lane right now is not looking good for Bulldogs whatsoever, because this is Jace we're talking about. Jace really struggles if he's set behind so early in the game, as early as he was, unfortunately. He's still trying to farm it up. He's still trying to like go between the lanes to see which lane he can just settle in for a safer play. But for the time being, he's being set behind massively. He's gonna suffer without the first item. He's gonna suffer even versus Bouse, who has been bullied early on, but now the tables have turned.
It is a 2-level discrepancy top lane. It is a 1.6k discrepancy top lane. That is not a tank Jace build I'm seeing in there either. That is, yes, the grasp, but that is double longsword. That is pickaxe. That's not even building towards something like the Black Cleaver, which we sometimes see. I'm not seeing the tier inventory for the Thimble Winter second item. That's supposed to be a damaged Jace. I don't think that is going to make this matchup any easier. Nemesis now looking to lane up against him. Scout of the week just shy. With the speed up, allows to jump on top of Nemesis with the to the skies, and Nemesis has to flash on out, even the level up. Nice play from Yentik to at least still show he's got a few teeth to him.
Medic sure has a lot of teeth, to be honest, and he does not shy from showing them to the enemy. But here, when you're 0-3-0 on Jace, it's a little bit hard to do that, so kudos for him for being able to do so. But right now, the Grubbies are spawning up very soon. Those Ratones surely would be looking towards that next objective, but with how the tables have shifted on the top side of the map for Bulldog, with Merek finally feeling a little bit more in control of the wave, with Lulish being in advance around this speed, this should be the Grubbies for Bulldogs, unless Belger has a save.
Hell yeah. Thinking about it, throws the flag, knows what's going on. One grub secured, Smite was not used, so there's still that one up and available. How aggressively do Los Ratones want to come and contest this? I think they're not going to bother, except with a super mega death rocket that picks up one of the grubs. Objective secured.
Objective, in fact, secured. Kudos to Crowny. That was a sniper move. Oh, here we go.
Hang on, where's Bouse coming on in? As the Cataclysm's down, X-Vegas survived. Nature's grasp comes on down, Bouse goes down, but he's still got a zombie form with some lethality behind him. Valiant trying to flash on after safety as came in. It gets rocked by Bouse's zombie. It's the wrong game mode. This is looking like COD zombies out here. What is that, Scion?
I don't know. Bouse is cosplaying a Walking Dead in this game apparently, because all he does, he dies and then gets something in return. Either some more minions or some enemy champions. Crowny is still alive. Crowny is still getting those tier plays thanks to Reckless, who is just there literally body blocking Kissing from getting anywhere close to Crowny. This game is absolute cinema. This is Los Ratones game at its finest. And Bulldog, honestly, they're finding some plays. They're 7-7 right now. They're going in terms of kills total with Los Ratones. But if you look at any other stats, it's not looking good for them. And I fear it's going to get accelerating. And Bulldogs, they don't really have the champions to play from behind. Everybody on their side wants to be accelerated from early as possible, and that didn't really happen for them here. An ultimate from Kasing to try to slow things down, and the fight is split in two, so Luna, she's trying to fight everybody from Lost Ratones with no success, and at the same time, Baus and Velja are fighting Kasing and Cayman, and kind of winning.
I mean, don't get me wrong, this Mel, now 5-1, should be scary. Has gotten towards the Seraphs early.
Yes, absolutely.
Is way ahead of this Syndra, who doesn't really have a good matchup into that one, and the Eclipse at least down from Niantic. The problem is that this Scion is 2.3k ahead. We've already seen what happens when Crowny get to lead 3-0-1, up 30 CS. Already an item and a half done. The Wild Arrows stacking very happily in this game, and I don't know whether that's enough to realistically come back, especially when Mel, her range isn't necessarily super superb. We heard it from Jamada. Normally she wants people to come into her, and there is some value in this game, but what are you really reflecting? The Rocket? Possibly valuable. The Syndra stun probably the most valuable, or maybe the full-on unleashed power, but not necessarily the easiest Mel game of all time. She's gonna have to do a lot of work here as Niantic just eats a decimating smash. Baus yells at him a bit. Goes to the skies. Doesn't really care. Flash forwards? Baus is just having it. Really wants that Jace flash traded by Niantic. Dragon secured. And really wants this turret. Might just go down to zombie form and say, that's cool, I'll die. And take the turret regardless. Rocket.
Oh, that was
really
close.
doesn't get the turret. Okay. Gets a kill.
He gets the
That's
minions.
nice.
Hey, he has his priority straight, okay? He gets the minions. That's a little bit more important for him at the time being. Hey, he is Yomu already. How often do you see a Saiyan completing Yomu?
Axiomark. He
An
just got
Axiom.
Axiomark. Oh my days. And the
Oh
kill's
my
just been
God.
completed.
And he's a
Underplayed
3-5.
Swifties. Yeah. Yeah. That there is a reason why this playstyle generated so much frustration. Because the thing is, it works. And that's so galling. Came in, out of range of Scout of the Week, lands a Q of themselves, could look to speed themselves up, looks for Solus now, can't quite find it, but Kasing will bring out the roots. The execute comes on through, misuse of the rebuttal. It is soundly denied. Judge Nemesis says no.
Oh, and Kasing is now in danger if Velja decides to go on, but Exafang is around, so they decide not to over-push it. Nemesis doesn't have the flash, doesn't have too much mana, so there is not too much you want to be risking right now on this bot. And Nemesis has gotten the range, he has gotten the kill, so he is now a little bit more stabilized. And Crowny is just not living this mid lane. You love to see that. He is still playing the same game as in previous game. He is getting in the money.
And look, Bulldog's supposed to have something of a poke comp. The Jace, you got the Varus going on hit, yes, the Mel. Like, you're supposed to be able to play around those 3 damage dealers. Intake does actually do a decent job, goes to the skies, looks for some autos, backs and powers it with the hypercharger. In comes Scion with the ultimate, yells cowards, and does go down to the zombie. A hammer blow away will keep Baus down, even with the zombie form there. A nice play from Intake, the rocket just wide, and nice little moment there for the Jace that has been suffering a lot this game.
I doubt he's getting much gold from killing Baus, even if it becomes a repetitive thing there on the top lane. It's at least helping him in some form. There is still a massive gold deficit for Miata compared to Baus in terms of the gold for the top laners, but it's still something, and more importantly, it allows Bulldog to keep this top lane a little bit more balanced there. Outer turret on the top lane is still barely alive. There is like the minimal amount of health available for it, which makes the situation there a little bit dangerous. If Lost Ratones decide to take a little push and destroy it, have a little bit more vision, a little bit more safety for themselves on this top part of the map. But for now, top part of the map is where Bulldog feel much more comfortable, and that's why right now we're talking about a potential herald for them.
Look, at least this time around, Bulldog are not down 6,000 gold. It's still not fantastic that Jinx, who is a massive win condition, is very ahead. You have, however, got your Mel to 5-2, has matched well into the Syndra, unfortunately died in that 1v2 there to Nemesis, who kind of broke some ankles by just not pressing stun to the right moment. They're going to try and turn around here themselves. Finding an angle, big solar snare, Velia is dead, executed by Searing Radiance. Lula's now in danger, stun comes on through, stun afterwards will go down, does not really stay around, but it turned around, Golden Eclipse! Make sure it's a good night. Crowny dies. Huge shutdown going the way of this Mel. Scion, though, in the picture. And picture is on the tier too. He's just not stopping. Someone needs to stop this man now.
Cayman will try to, but can you realistically stop this man right now? Like, even if you kill him, he will not feel stopped by that whatsoever. He'll just keep on doing the same thing. Getting the minions, getting maybe the enemies as well. What's your damage now?
Nice stopwatch. That means the Decimating Smash doesn't get that much value. Twisted advance forwards. Baus now trying to run away with a phase rush. And Lumberjack Scion, he works all day, he sleeps all night, and he's about to sleep for a bit longer in the ground as BNTech comes and puts him into the dirt.
Oh my
And the
God.
Monty Python reference, wait, that zombie is so silly. Doesn't matter all that much. Third kill for BNTech, still down 2.3k, because this Scion is a bit ridiculous.
So Bulldogs are taking the fight a little bit early on the mid lane. They decide they can't really do anything with it in terms of the Herald that's still waiting for somebody on the map because they need to rotate game into the bot lane and their health bar's a little bit too low to, try to do anything, and those Ratones are still there. So they're like, hey, we can at least go to the bot lane, kill Baus, try to slow him down a little bit, but because of that, we don't really get much by killing Baus, and we sacrifice the Herald that is going to Los Ratones' hands right now. And Los Ratones will continue pushing it because, hey, with this bot lane completely destroyed now, with this Herald, this top lane is not gonna stand for long either.
Nemesis possibly in danger here as Kassin goes speeding forwards. In danger himself, tries to Bramble Smash, gets knocked out, the passive is there. And Nemesis picks up a third kill. Dark Seal, now it's 7 stacks, Ludus goes forward, trying to clear out the wave. Chompers don't quite arm, but the turret falls, that means Jinx is excited. Crescent Guard forced to be popped. Crowny keeps autoing, Valia gets inside the Crescent Guard, and Ludus has to flash out to safety chains of corruption. Land onto Reckless, who says, I'm just gonna put up a load of trees, and runs away, courtesy of that Glacial Fissure.
Merry Christmas, everybody, but I'm out and I don't think you're killing anybody on my team this time, at least. 12 to 11, Bulldogs have one more kill, but again, if you look at any other stats in the game, that's not looking good, especially in terms of the amount of turrets. They've managed to get 2 on the top lane and the bot lane, but everywhere else they are bleeding, and bleeding heavily. And right now is not the time to bleed. There is a third dragon actually dying at this very moment because Los Ratones are taking it, with Bulldogs having absolutely no access to it because of what Baus did to their bot lane just a little bit earlier.
And look, Bulldogs, been more proactive, have got kills, have made plays mid. It wasn't just a walkover. It felt like they were late to every play. They had Los Ratones just kind of have their way with the map. Part of that was off the fact that Syndra, who's on screen right now, didn't have lane pressure, doesn't quite have enough splinters of wrath to get the execute threshold on the ult. Came in, throws out a rebuttal, and Baus just hits him with a big axe instead. And I don't think the council member from Piltover thought this was on being a motion. Sonya's buys some time. Goes turning into a statue, buys her a moment or two and stays alive, but my days. This Scion is just unrelenting in the side lane pressure.
Is he building LDR? Oh my god, this Scion, he already hits like a truck. And that is a time champion, by the way. This is problematic for
That's
Bulldog.
lethality. There's nothing tanky about this man. He's just got raw damage. It's ridiculous.
Hey, there is a thing as a Scion as a champion, and then there is a thing as Scion is in Bao's hands, okay? That's like 2 completely different champions.
I see the point.
Thank you. Alright, now I see something else on the map. I see the timer, and I know that Altacon has spawned on the top lane, and Los Ratones are taking it. No vision for Bulldogs, if I see that correctly, which means they don't understand the health bar. They cannot walk in, and they have a Herald on the top lane. What are you doing here?
Reckless and Baus just bodyguard say, you're not allowed into this club, you are not important enough. Now they got withdrawals available. Join the Bank of Vatican and get the withdrawal cards. Very, very difficult. All the while, Niantic has tried to shove onto the tier 2 and get something back with 2 items on the Jace. On for the Ghostblade second to a lethality Jace themselves. Trying to get that one out. The problem is you're now racing against a Herald that was summoned earlier. Kasing slowed down, came and gets over, but it's still a 4-grub Herald charge as in goes Velia with the Cataclysm. Came in. Turns up the rebuttal, times it a little late, has the Sarah shield come on up as Nemesis now looking to land a Scatter the Week. Just puts the force of will to ensure that Mel is crushed into the ground. That laning phase feels a long, long time ago. The build as well, more about the extended fights, the overtime damage. And at this point it feels like this Syndra is right back in the game. Up 5th kill, BNTech flashing in to get to the skies, trying to get some withdrawals but can't do it. And lost Ratones. Every time in the mid-game, it just feels like they hit a point where they know their damage better than you do, know their ability to pressure structures better than you do. They'll claim an inhibitor, the Herald starts it, and the kills end it. Charge on in from the side to get a chunk onto the turret. Do they just want to end? I think they do. XFN trying to play this one out, gets some speed up, gets one back, but it's not going to matter as Cayman respawned, and they've got withdrawals to work with. Sion gets a knock-up, will surely go down to the... Ironically, the Maokai there, Crowdy taking turret shots, and they've got a sliver of a turret remaining. That is it. They have 1 inhibitor down. Double inhibitor turrets down, 1 Nexus turret down. Bulldog's base is tatters.
It's open. It's up there for the taking. For Los Ratones, just go in and take it. There is not much to do on the map right now. We're talking about more than a minute before the next strike, and that's the first objective that's going to spawn on the map. So what are Los Ratones going to do? Because Nemesis?
Gonna try and get towards this Blatsko and gets knocked away. He's got enough for speed up, gets to run out to safety. No, you can't have that happen. And now Lost Returns is gonna come over and try and play. Nemesis still got the withdrawal to work with, which is kind of feeling happy. To walk over, runs into a sapling and burns down to. Oh, that's hilarious. X-Fang coming on over as Reckless and Bao still trading this one out. Knocked up the Jace, who tries to get a Thundering Blow, gets a bit of a heal back and does okay. Surviving. X-Fang trying to trade out as Velia leaps into the back line by putting down the Stranded and Dragon striking in. A double kill to the newer jungler, the rookiest member of Lost Ratones. So it looking like it this game, 3-2 and 11, having a Stormer.
And they're just not allowing Bulldogs to play in this game. No one is allowed to. Not even Exofang, for example, has been doing relatively okay in the first part of the game, but then finding a death after death. Even after really good ultimates he's been throwing at Lost Ratones, they're not enough to change.
Tries to get the rebuttal down. It's not bad. That means Nemesis in danger and goes down. Mouse also desperately low, but there's enough of a slow onto Lulis that he can't chase any further. Still going to lose that final remaining inhibitor turret. Lulis chunked out, remember, doesn't have Progressive Guard anymore. So Crowdy says, you're dead. You're mine, son. Steps on forward, still excited. And so very happy to meet you. Reckless says, stand behind me. The Cataclysm. So aptly named, it's the end of days. A Bulldog. Their bark was definitely not as bad as their bite. They don't have anything left in the jaws. And Lost Ratones are a plague on this game. They overwhelm Bulldogs 2-0 in decisive fashion.
It only took us a little bit more than 40 minutes of total game time to decide